75-day LeetCode coding challenge, and today we are going to solve our next problem statement, number of recent calls. Let's start. You have a recent counter class which count the number of recent requests within a certain time frame. Implement the recent counter class. Recent counter initialize the counter with 0 recent request. Integer ping add a new request at time t where t represents some time in millisecond, and return the number of requests that has happened in the past 3000 milliseconds, including the new request. Specifically return the number of requests that have happened in the inclusive range of t minus 3000 comma t. It is guaranteed that every call to ping uses a strictly larger value of t than the previous call. So let's make this problem statement simpler. It is quite hard to read. We have given a time frame, and we need to count at time t how many requests we have made in the time frame to that particular t. If our time frame is 5 seconds and first request came at 1 second, then second request came at second, and third request came at 5 seconds, and then another request came at 7 seconds, then another 12 seconds. Let's try to find out how many number of requests we get at this time frame of 5 seconds. So first request came at 1 second. So number of requests we have made till 1 second is 1. Number of requests we have made till 2 seconds is 2. And number of requests we have made till 5 seconds is 3. These are 3 requests. Our time frame is 5 seconds. Now number of requests we have made till 7 seconds. So the range now will be 7 minus 5, 2. So range will be 2 comma 7 seconds. So in between 2 and 7, how many number of requests we have made? So this first request will not be counted, and these 3 requests will be counted, 2, 5 and 7. So the output for the 7 second will be 3. For 12th second, the range will be 12 minus 5, 7 seconds, comma 12. So how many requests we have made in between 7th second and 12th second? So these 3 requests came less than the 7 second, and these 2 requests lies in the range. So that's why the output is 2. So we made this problem statement simpler. Now let's try to understand this problem statement. The time frame we have given is strictly 3000 milliseconds. So 3000 milliseconds means 3 seconds. And we have given an array that have the time t. The recent counter means that our class has been initialized, and ping means the ping request that is coming at t microsecond. So the first request came at 1 microsecond, second request came at 100 microsecond, third request came at 3001 microsecond, and fourth request came at 3002 microsecond. Our time frame is 3000 microsecond. Now the number of requests we made at 1 microsecond is, this is our first request only, the 1. The number of requests we have made at 100 microsecond, so this 1 microsecond is also included in 300 microsecond, right? So it is 2. For 3001, the range will be 3001 minus 3000, so 1 comma 3001. This will be our range, and our first request is included, and our second request is also included. So these 3 requests comes in this time frame. So the output will be 3. For the fourth one, the range will be 3002 minus 3000, 2 comma 3002 microsecond. For this, the first request is not included, but the second request is included. So the output will be 3 for these 3 requests. So our output is 1233, and the first value recent counter will be none. So we now need to solve this problem statement. Now we understand the test case. We can solve this problem statement using queue. Queue is based on FIFO principle, first in, first out. We can maintain queue which store request in time frame. So for this case, 100, 3001 and 3002. we have a queue. First request came 1. Then second request came, we stored it in the queue only 100. Then the third request came 3001. So we need to maintain a queue which is store request in time frame only. And our first request is at the top of the queue 1, second request 100. Then 3001 came. So we check from the peak of the queue if peak if peak of queue, top of queue is minus the time is greater than 3000 millisecond, we remove the top element from the queue. So we need to do this activity, and queue dot size will be our answer. How many requests are there in the queue? So we are maintaining how many requests in the time frame is in the queue, and every time a new request came, we remove the element from the top if the time at the queue top minus that time frame is going greater than our 3000 milliseconds. So we remove it from the queue. So first we added 1, then we added 100, then 3001. So we check if 3001 minus 3001 minus 1 is greater than 3000 or not. If it is not, so we do not remove 1 and we add 3000. Now the answer will be queue dot size. Now we have the three requests. Where 3002 came, we can check if top 3002 minus 1 is greater than 3000 or not. So 3001 minus 1 is greater than 3000. Then we remove the top element from the queue. So we remove this one, right? Again we do the check, 3002 minus 100 is greater than 3000 or not. So again it is not greater. Then we add 3002 at the queue. 3002 at the queue, and the queue dot size will be the answer. So the answer for this is 3. So let's do the coding part and complete this solution. So first we are defining our queue of type integer queue, and in the constructor we initialize our queue equal to new queue of type integer. Then we add the t time frame in our queue. We check, let's add the time limit also. Time limit is 3000. You can say time frame. Time frame is 3000 microsecond. So if queue dot peak element and our current time stamp minus queue dot peak element is greater than our time frame, we remove it from the queue. We need to make it while loop, and we remove the top element from the queue dot remove. So it will keep on removing from the queue till our queue maintain only the requests that are in the time frame. Then return the queue dot size. So how many number of requests are in the queue is our answer. Return the queue dot size. Now let's run our test case. So our test case is working. Let's submit the solution. Our solution is also working. So thanks for joining the session. Let's meet tomorrow.